Here we are at Munich Airport, Flughafen. You can hear airplanes going above. We're on this kind of mini grand tour de force. You'll be hearing from us in Bari next, but we wanted to stop here and pause and have a thought about what's happening in Germany and in the EU in general, and the next steps it's going to take regarding the tariffs and how it's moving on its own after dealing with Trump's tariffs and what it's doing now. So who better to talk about this than my podcast colleague, Claudia Koestler, senior editor at the Süddeutsche Zeitung. And Claudia, what is basically the current status of things now? Where does it stand, and how are they responding to Trump's tariffs?
Well, first of all, herzlich willkommen in München, Dan.
Oh,
willkommen. Isn't that great?
Fantastic.
He's on a stop over, actually. And we thought do a little impromptu episode here. Well, the status. We are over 100 days now, so it is time actually to move forward and no longer be surprised about all the surprises that are coming. The German government that has been formed newly needs to very, very soon find its backbone and its voice, find their own agenda, and there need to be a spirit of unity in Central Europe, in Germany, and throughout Europe, and of course the EU, because there is no longer a big brother out there. There is no longer a trustworthy US out there. So you need to find your own agenda, and you need to find your own independence and be your own man in a way.
Yeah.
So that is something that has to be done very, very quickly. Find your backbone, find your voice, know who you are, and don't look out for help anywhere else than trusted friends and friends that share your values, and that is democracy.
Yeah, but and I agree totally, and that's what we all hope that the EU and Germany does. But there are overtures now also to China as well. You know, they're looking at what maybe getting a little bit closer to China and these other markets, because they can't rely on the United States. So it's unintended consequences where instead of Trump being able to rally the rest of the world against China, China is now almost boxing. We're being boxed in as far as the United States goes. China is forming these alliances in the Asia Pacific, making overtures here in Europe. And yeah, what would be great is just what Claudia said. Alliances should be, we should be looking at alliances and shared values. But is that happening? Do we share values with the United States anymore here from a European perspective? Doesn't look that way.
No, it doesn't. No, I think that we all learned that very quickly, and we had feared it, but now it has turned out to be absolutely true. For a time being, the US is not going to be a trustworthy partner in politics. I'm not saying that about the American people. Definitely not.
You trust me, right?
I do trust this guy. And I do have trustworthy friends over there. And there are a lot of very good people out there. But we are specifically talking about politics. So no, that has been shown that this is absolutely not trustworthy. So what do when you have to deal with a trust issue in your partnership, whether it's private or in politics? You keep reaching out the hand, you keep the door open, but you have to find ways to become independent. And that is what the entire world is actually doing now. Yeah. And they're trying to form new alliances, new partnerships. They are seeking out who is in the same club, who is sharing the values. Yeah. And everyone is on the lookout at the moment. So, yeah.
And in off camera, we were talking about one word, and you said it earlier, was unity.
Yeah.
You know,
Absolutely.
You want to talk to that as far as, I mean, when dealing with Trump, he wants to totally deal with on a bipartisan basis. Multilateralism is a no-go with him. Why? Because as a bully, he gets to take advantage of the opposing side. It's a zero-sum game that he thinks he can win in most cases. Multilateralism doesn't work for him. So can you trust someone to have a proper adult relationship where both of you mutually can benefit, or is it a zero-sum game? And we're seeing that he's thinking it's a zero-sum game. But what is it going forward? What should they do? What do they need to do to survive and be successful here in Europe, in Germany and in Europe?
Well, basically, they do have to find their own resources and sources and their backbone. We have everything here at the ready, basically. But it's been such a long-term planning and strategy that we kind of still are a little bit diverse with all our little countries over here in Europe. That is wonderful. It's such an eclectic mix. That's what Europe makes it so intriguing. But on a whole, we have to really get our mind together that we are a continent and we are a union, and we have to find our own one voice to make a strong case for democracy and shared values and Western values, and be a beacon of hope for the entire world.
Yeah. And that element of, well, I was going to say trust, but also that special relationship we talked about earlier. Now, the UK has prided itself probably for the last 20, 30, 40 years of saying there's a special relationship between the UK and the United States. But that's really being tested now, and that's being tested in this deal negotiations, a special deal that the UK has been trying to get ever since Brexit. But they've got slapped on by, they have 10% tariffs slapped on them, even during these negotiations. And of course, we know what's happened to the rest of the world and to Europe in some of the tariffs there. So where do you think the special relationship is going to land? I mean, you tell me, what do you think?
Well, I'm curious what you actually think, so please don't hold back on that one.
I am the Italian citizen here, so I'll let it out of the bag. I am smiling here like a Cheshire cat. Georgia Meloni seems to be coming from the outside very quickly, you know, as far as that special relationship with the United States. But will that last past Trump is the question. But for now, it seems like there's a special bond between the two. Obviously, they share right-wing extremist values. Would you agree?
Yes, I do agree. And this is actually the one threat that I see in the European Union at the moment, that you have a division there. You know, you have countries that are leaning more and more to the right, and then you have those that are still clinging on the more centered-based democracy values. So some countries actually start to do their own agenda and trying to swoop in and schmooze Trump on their own just to get a little extra here and there. That's where it's going to get tricky for everyone.
And well, I think she also positioned herself being the voice of the EU for a time, when that's a real kick in the head as far as she being the voice of the EU. They've been Eurosceptic, Italy, for quite a while now. But anyway, we'll watch that space and we'll report on it as well. So we're off to, as I mentioned, Bari in a few days, and we'll be maybe talking to a few Italians there and getting their perspective. And but for the meantime, thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. Check us out on our social media. Don't forget to
like and subscribe and tell everyone about this podcast. We really cherish it when you be in touch, write a little comment, and let us know what you think.
Yeah. So thank you, and we'll catch you next time. Thank you for listening.
Bye.